Well, that was a quick little package of the best of last round in the Rams NHRU, and with us we've got a quick little package today. The runt of the Dan litter, Paul Dan. How are you, mate?
I was good until you just said that then, Gareth.
Very good. Well, you're coaching in at Hamilton, and everything's going well for Hamilton. You're coming second, which isn't so good, but I guess you're a coach in waiting for first grade. That's what I'm hearing?
Well, I suppose, well, thank you very much. Yeah, I suppose that's the plan. There's got to be sort of like a succession plan, whether that's me or whether it's somebody obviously better. If there's somebody better that comes along, we'll obviously jump at the chance. But the fact that, you know, we're sort of a club that wants to promote from within. The culture is that we've got a reasonable culture here, and you obviously want to build on that with whoever's going to come in next. So, yeah, second place, like you said, we
dropped a couple of games, little bad couple of weeks for you guys there. I guess does it coincide with Scott Coleman being away on country duties?
I'm certain that has an effect, but the blokes that have been coming in for him, as I've said on BarTV the last few weeks, they're fantastic coaches. You know, maybe even with Nico, you know, he's probably more experienced than Bubba. So no excuses. I just think I thought about it this morning. We probably just come off the back of some hard training. Like we did a couple of weeks of hard training going into those games, and maybe the boys just went in a little bit too flat, I suppose. Yeah, and credit to the two teams that beat us. You know, they really they played that Chidgey model, didn't they? You know what I mean? Like the two Chidgeys in a row. Yeah,
the backyard footy.
Exactly.
You can imagine back in the day, the two Chidgeys playing together. There wouldn't be much picking. It would just be picking and driving, wouldn't
exactly. Pick and drive everywhere.
Up the middle.
Yeah.
Anyway, with that, I guess with the potential chance to coach Hamilton in a few years, does that come with a villa in Fiji as well? The same package as Bubba?
If Chief Bubba allows me to build my villa, I'll be there for sure, yeah.
Yeah, very good. I guess getting within the culture and stuff, you've got the Croatian Sports Club coming on board, which I think's wonderful, just going over next door for a beer after the game instead of travelling 3 suburbs away to go for the after-match function. How good's that, having that close by, that facility?
Oh, it's wonderful. You know, it means that realistically we can move straight off here, straight over into after-match functions and things like that. We don't share it with the Knights now. Like at the Sunnyside, we were sharing it with the Knights, which was fine. You know, Steely'd always make that appropriate and all those sorts of things. But this just gives us a real identity. And
did you give them tips, the Knights?
Yeah, well, we tried.
Maybe that's why they're not going so good this year, because you're not there telling them how to play.
I think they'd been going pretty bad for a couple of years before that. But no, this really gives us an identity, and the fact that we've got our gym in there now, that means that our juniors are in there, we're in there all before, you know, well, realistically before training, after training, things like that. So, yeah, it really does just complete the package here for us. So, yeah.
And speaking about yourself, you played in Manly, obviously Hamilton as well. The Dan family, big in Newcastle rugby. They do say it is the poor man's Delore family, though.
Yeah, well, I suppose.
How good is it playing here, and how good is the competition? What do you think of the competition at the moment?
Oh, it's great. You know, I've always thought, I always was excited about coming back home. I think I probably would have stayed a couple more years in Manly and just tried to, you know, build up my first grade games, I suppose. But like the injuries and things like that, or the injury, pulled that up short, which is what I've had to deal with for the rest of, you know, my playing sort of thing.
Your whole life being short, really.
Yeah, well, and when I got that injury, I was made a couple of inches shorter. But no, I think the competition here is really strong. You know, it's getting stronger all the time. The amount of recruitment that's done, obviously, you know, plays into that as well. Like, you know, we've seen some quality players over the last couple of weeks when I've been commentating with BarTV, that guys that have played some really high standard footy around the world are now finding a home here in Newcastle and making a difference.
Well, let's get to that. I guess the player points is always at the top of everyone's list at the moment. It's the buzz topic, I guess. What do you think of the player points? I'm of the opinion that, you know, the more players that come here, the better the competition is, and you know, it feeds Australian rugby.
Yeah, well, that's the point that you're making. You're sort of on the right hand side of it, or maybe the left hand side. I can't think of it now, but you're probably more
talking politics. I'm a Greens voter anyway.
Yeah,
being a Merriweather Carlton guy.
Yeah, true. No, I think there needs to be a point system. I think we need to promote junior boys or junior players looking up and saying, I want to play in a first grade jersey for their club. I think that it's too easy for some clubs to buy players in, and therefore it just detracts from the fact that rugby, at the end of the day, should be a mate's game that we play to stay fit and healthy. And, you know, I think that buying premierships is not not what should be promoted by the NHRU. So bring the points on as far as I'm concerned.
I guess as well, maybe affiliating with a Sydney-based club in Shoot Short. I know Darren Coleman, he's obviously Bubba Coleman's brother, has a good close watch of the competition and brings some players in. I know West Harbour as well with the Waratahs, a couple of those guys. Kelly Miafua won Rookie of the Year in the Shoot Shield last year and came over here and played first up. Now he's playing in France. So do you think maybe if clubs affiliated or aligned themselves with some of those clubs, I know Newcastle Uni's trying to do it with Sydney Uni as well.
Yeah, I think that's probably not a bad idea, to be honest with you, with the fact that their season finishes early. Maybe that a few players could be parachuted in that aren't taken into that NRC competition. I can't see too many major issues with that. The problem we've got at the moment with Darren is he just keeps poaching our boys from here down to there.
He's known for that.
Yeah, big time. So, no, that's something that we're also really proud of as a club. Like in the last 4 or 5 years, we've had 3 or 4 guys leave and go on to that NRC and higher standard. So, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what I think we want to see out of this competition is that guys grow and develop out of this competition rather than being brought into it. That's my opinion. Yeah.
And then the last point of conjecture in the competition at the moment is the Colts competition. 19s. Do you think it's a good pathway? I personally think it feeds into the New South Wales system, which is under 20s, which gives our kids the best chance. What about you?
Yeah, no problems either way. I think this year the fact that we couldn't get a 19s team, or in the end we decided not to because we'd sort of set it up from the year before with the fact that we knew we'd have a 20s team, so we had enough for under 20s, but we certainly couldn't get it under 19s. But from this moment on, Hamilton shouldn't struggle to get an under 19s team, so that won't really bother us either way.
Yeah, very good. And you're second place on the ladder at the moment. Unfortunate there, and looks like Wanderers have got a pretty good lead at the moment. Do you think you can catch them, and do you think you've got the team to win it this year?
Well, firstly, it'll be tough. They're a good team, and they're out ahead, and they've skipped ahead. So the answer is, I don't think it'll matter too much if we catch them now. It'll be a matter of who turns up finals time. They will. We'd like to think we will. But there's other teams as well that are in and about. I was talking to Stacey yesterday in the shopping centre. He came up to me with a big Cheshire smile on his face. And, they've recruited a couple of guys in before that June 30.
June 30. I believe Jerome Wilson has come across from Charlestown. Of course, you work with the Central Charlestown Rugby League coach. He's probably a little bit filthy at the moment.
Yeah, I haven't really spoken to Rowan about it, but I suppose once he finds out, maybe he'll have a few things to say about it. But it seems like a bit of a strange one for Jerome. I felt like the games I've seen him play for Central, he's been playing pretty well. So, that's obviously the Greens are going to benefit from that. So, yeah.
And just speaking about Rowan, will he be playing in horse colours next year?
Wouldn't that be funny? Flaming red hair in a blue and gold jumper. I'd like to see it happen, whether it happens or not. Mate, I think he's too good still at league. I reckon that realistically, I think he's probably got another year in him there. So maybe just give away the coaching and just play again, I suppose. Yeah.
Well, you're still playing as well. Do you think you've got another couple of years? Your hair's looking a little bit greyer on the top.
Yeah, mine's greying. Mine's not flaming anymore. I'd like to think I'll play into our 50th year next year. I just realised today that I've sort of played less games than I've sat on the sideline for this year, which is a bit disappointing. But
lazy
probably, yeah, probably a little bit of that. But no, I think I'm looking forward to playing. I still love it. Like it's still, you can't. If you never got injured, you'd never give up. It's the best feeling in the world playing with your mates, isn't it? So
it is definitely. Yeah. We all play for the Silly Sunday and Mad Monday. Well, thanks very much for that little piece there. We're going to get into the ladder and the Rams percentage play of the week coming up next. Well, that's the ladder as it stands right there. Wanderers on top. Hamilton second, drifting away. Meriwether Carlton third. There's only 3 points between it. Danger times. Hamilton have to win this weekend, obviously. And then Maitland and Waratah as well. There's only a couple of points between those two sides. So anywhere, I guess, in this competition, anyone in that top 5 can potentially be the minor premiers.
That's exactly right. And then, you take away all the top 5, you've got Lake Macquarie maybe starting to hit some form. I know they lost to Wanderers on the weekend, but, when they can turn it on, they can turn it on as well. So it's congested there, and that's what we want in part of the, as part of the comp. We want all of those 5 positions being up for grabs, and Wanderers at the moment being out in front, they'd be pretty happy with where they are. I suppose Viv would be pretty stoked.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess the Rams' low percentage play of the week's right here, and is the Wanderers going out to Lake Macquarie. It's a hard task for anybody, and they won the Hawthorn Cup, which is back in play this year. And here's how it went down. Well, there it is. The Wanderers certainly enjoying their victory after the game with a couple of big heads, and Mike Myers was in the changing room there for a bit, Danny.
They're rock stars, yeah.
Aren't they?
Yeah.
Aren't they? What, they've got their own team bus.
Yeah.
I heard as well, because they got the social fours, they tried to maybe gazump Merriweather and getting a bus together, but no one wanted to get on it, going up to Singleton for the social fours on Friday night where they're having a gala day, so everyone in Singleton get up there and get involved in that. It's going to be a great night. We'll be up there with BarTV as well. So now here's the Top Better round preview for the week. A couple of big games. Get in the game with Top Better, of course, our official broadcast partner this year for BarTV Sports. The first game, we got Uni taking on Maitland. This game, we thought it was going to be close in the first round, but it definitely wasn't that. No. Maitland certainly went away with it.
Yeah, well, Mobby's Monsters hopefully will have grown from that first round game and get out there against Maitland. But Maitland are a tough team, and I think they're going to probably be the darkies going into the final part of the season. So, yeah, it'll be a forward dominant sort of performance, I'd say, from Maitland, and then hopefully, Joshy McCormack and things like that can get a bit of ball out wide.
Well, he's always in my... Him and Jaya Sathia are always in my try-scoring markets for that Top Better tournament.
Yeah.
So get on them, and I guess Mobby in the first round had a bit to say about you too.
Yeah, well,
do you want a chance to return fire?
Well, I'd say I'd probably give him some return fire, but he can't hear because he's got too bad a cauliflower ears anyway. So
aren't they ugly ears? You couldn't even hang a pair of sunnies on them.
They're horrible.
Lake Macquarie Roos, Carlton. The match obviously being reversed to the draw. It's at Merriweather Carlton because of the wet weather in the first round. Danger match for Merriweather Carlton. They always find it tough against this big Lake Macquarie pack, and you can bet Tim Chidgey has his pack fired up to pick off some of these Carlton guys. I mean, the pack's bigger this year for Merriweather Carlton.
Yeah.
So what do you think is going to happen there?
Well, it's a banana peel for most teams. Lake Macquarie tend to become that banana peel, don't they? And Tim would be loving the fact that, we're talking about this. I think Carlton will run away with it. I think that they are starting to hit their straps. I think that they're starting to be, they're building that belief in what they've got. They've got some good players, and I think Stacey's probably now starting to get to the point where he's got his team and he's building together that bit of cohesiveness. So I can't see it being a huge issue for Carlton at this stage. Yeah.
And you guys take on the Beaches. Couple of bad losses, I guess. Beaches, you don't know,
Yeah.
They can turn up and they can't.
Yeah, well, whenever you've got a team with Vartala Leva, the Delore boys in it, and a few more, there's some young guys in there as well, you know what I mean? Like, they're always going to be a danger. So I think we need to get back on the winner's circle. Winning becomes a bit of a habit, and I think that realistically, teams have now got this bit of, we've lost that sort of sense of, we go out there and win every week. Teams now believe they can sort of beat us, so it'll be a good test for us here at home.
Wanderers versus Tars, this could almost be the match around. Probably is the feature match, but we're going to go up to Singleton on the weekend.
Okay, yeah.
Give those guys a chance of some BarTV magic up there. But Wanderers versus Waratahs, this is going to be a pretty good match.
Yeah, it will be. That will be a quality match, and there's quality sort of staggered throughout the whole team. You know what I mean? You've got Boo Boo at 9. We then go out to Sherat on the other side. You've got fullbacks. You've got all this sort of thing. Forwards.
Well, Kevil's out as well, which is massive for the Wanderers. I'm going to go with Waratahs, and I'm going to go. I think they're going to win by about 20.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to go against you, and I'm going to go 20 for Wanderers. I think with Willie So out, have you seen his broken arm?
Yeah.
Oh, that was.
But he played last week.
Yeah, I know.
The whole game. Wow.
But he's happy because, as you said, it's not his burger arm. Okay, so he can still eat. But no, I think that the Tars will. I just think that Wanderers will probably come out that little bit more polished, and they'll probably learn from the lessons that we sort of didn't learn from last week. And Waratah, it'll be close, but I'll go with Wanderers. Won't surprise me either way, but I'm going with Wanderers.
Yeah, definitely. And this one, the battle for last place, I believe, Singleton v Nelson Bay. It's going to be big up there.
Yeah.
They've got a big festival of rugby happening with the 4th grade carnival on Friday night. There's going to be a few dusty heads maybe, and Singleton v Nelson Bay. Nelson Bay have been in pretty good form, but I guess Singleton put 30 points on Merriweather Carlton last week, which is pretty bloody good.
Yeah, Singleton are not a bad team. You know what I mean? Like that. Sorry, not a bad team. They're working really hard for one another. They've got some really good players in there. The two locks at this stage look really, really handy. Then you've got Ernie's little brother at halfback. They're
the better Ernst.
They're better Ernst. They're pretty handy. So I think that you'll probably have a pretty good game up there. I hope that both teams throw it around for you, and you get a bit of razzle dazzle footy. And I'm not surprised why BarTV's going up there. It should be a good game.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good game up there. And, of course, catch it on BarTV Sports and get in the game with top better with all the local tournaments. Should be good. Thanks very much for coming in, Paul Dan. One more question before we leave.
Oh, yeah.
Who would win in a fight out of you and Michael Dan?
That's a good question. I think I'd beat him because he'd be too tall and I'd be lower and I'd just punch at the groin.
Just a terrier.
I'd just punch at the groin.
Yeah, very good. Who would win in a mental verbal battle between you and Michael Dan?
Definitely me again. Michael gets too angry too quickly.
Well, I've seen Mick Gill rattle you a couple of times on the field.
I've never said anything back to Mick Gill. He might have rattled me, but it was only after I passed the ball.
Very good. Thanks for joining us again, Paul. Great stuff. We're going to go over there and join your friends over at Tent City, down at Passmore Oval. Of course, the budget accommodation, the great accommodation here provided by the Hamilton Hawks. It's going to be great. Thanks very much for joining us on Ruck Off. One more thing. Who'd you like to tell to ruck off this week?
Who'd I like to tell to ruck off? I'd like to tell Waratah for beating us last week.
Oh, there you go. Played it nicely. Thanks very much, mate.
Thank you. Yeah.